Yo, we are back. Hold on, let me turn my gunshots up a little bit. We got Ramon here. Let's go. What's up, man?
What's up? That was the little Kim.
He was like ducking and dodging over here.
That's a little Kim.
Oh, man. What up, everyone? You guys already know Joe Fugarino is in the house. In the studio, we are here today with the legend.
Oh, legend.
Yes.
Okay.
Introduce yourself to the people, man.
Filmmaker, director, producer, Ramon Pesante. That's what I do. Director first, writer, producer. Yeah. Creator.
Let's go.
That's what I do, man.
Man of many talents.
That's right.
Yo, thank you for the Playing Sam shirt. This is hard.
Man.
This is hard.
Man.
I appreciate it too.
Yeah,
for like the last, you got my size. It's tough to get my size, and especially last minute. So I know that was like because people usually hit me like, "Yo, what's your size?" And I just hate to just fuck them up because I know they don't got it. I know they probably don't have it. So it's like you gotta go figure out a way to like, damn.
My producer was like, Joe Fugarino. I'm like, yeah, he plays football. She goes, okay, yeah, 3X. I'm like, okay, yeah, 3X.
Nah,
he plays football.
No football. We were just talking about that actually before we started recording. It's hard, man. Weight loss and just
weight loss is hard. It's hard. The hardest part is the pressure. The pressure because of one, of course, society, that you have to look a certain way, but also like the medical pressure. That, if you don't you're running out of time. If you don't do something by a certain age point, you're in trouble. That's the part that's scary. You know what I mean? Like, you don't. Yeah. It's just that whole idea that you're getting the pressure from your doctor that is telling you, look, the older you get, the harder it is going to be for you to stay alive. So if you don't lose weight, it's going to be even harder to stay alive. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, man, it's really tough.
I like pizza. Pizza.
Is that we were just talking about Napoli pizza today, man? Yo, it's. I tell you though, I used to there was one time I've been big all my life. I lost weight one time when I was 22. I lost like 80, 90 pounds, but I went nuts. Like I either know how to do things like 0 or like 150. I just don't. It's hard for me to find.
You can't do the middle.
Nah, if I'm gonna do something,
you just gotta go hard.
Yeah,
or go soft.
I went nuts. Like when I lost the weight, I was like in the gym two times a day, sometimes 3 times a day.
Wow.
That's how I lost it. But I was a nut.
Yeah, there was a time when I was like 26. I got real fit.
Yeah,
I was like fit as fuck, but I turned into like the biggest asshole. Sometimes you gotta be fat and bald to be a nice guy.
Nah, fuck that, man. I'm going for asshole phase. I'm going for the asshole phase, right? I've been nice too long over here. Now I still always been me, people. Maybe that's why God just does not want me. I'm telling you, man. I've tried every single thing you could think of.
It was easier when we were younger. We lost weight. You just stopped eating sugar and carbs, and we were like, good.
That shit was still hard, man.
Yeah, it was easy for me at that time. But I thought that same cheat code applies to you in your 30s and your 40s.
Nah,
it does not.
Because for me, I've always been. I eat the wrong shit, but I'm not a big eater.
Right.
So I'll have maybe 2 meals a day, if that, But people look at me they're like, "Oh, you probably eat a lot." I'm like,
but it's the time of day that you eat those meals.
Sometimes not even that, bro. Sometimes I'll intermediate fast. It's just my metabolism is all shot. All that shit is just fucked up. So it's really, really hard. And that's one thing I was gonna get to. Is the last couple of years, I was like, you know what? Let me try to lose it, but let me try to be normal. Let me not try to go kill because I've tried killing myself But now I'm too busy to like be in the gym 2 times a day. So I can't do that shit. So I'm like, all right, let me try like a normal human. And just go like an hour a day, 45 minutes a day. And then you get discouraged because you go and you don't really fucking see no results.
Well, I think it's less about the moment we've hit our age. Right? I'm 44. Yeah. I'm not gonna say I don't know.
33.
You're 33. All right. So no, all right. Then you got time. But 44, I'm a happily married man. So it's like I'm just exercising for longevity so I can stay happy and married. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's no longer about how do I look in this? How do I look in that? It's just more about just like making sure that your blood pressure's down, that, that your body's always moving, that your blood is pumping, and that, your body knows it's like that. That's all that matters to me. Mm-hmm. That I'm just working on longevity at this point. For me, for 44. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you got time. You do have time. You 33.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to say you were older, but you were a mature
man.
It's all right.
It's okay. It's all right.
You were a mature man.
Thank you, man.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can do.
It's the ball. It's definitely people think I'm always older than I am.
But you're a mature dude. You know what I'm saying? So
that's why sometimes some of the references they might go over my head a little bit. 1990, man.
Oh, that's when you were born?
Yeah.
I remember 1990.
That's fucked up.
I remember 1990.
Well, man, you were young. January 3rd, 1990.
So January 3rd, 1990, I was still in elementary school. I was probably like in the 4th grade, probably the 4th grade. Yeah. 4th or 5th grade, I remember, Mario was popping. Super Nintendo was popping at the time.
I really fuck with your generation though, because y'all really got to like movies and like hip hop.
It was the best of. It was the best of movies. It was the best of hip hop. It was the best of music. Like I love hip hop, but I love rock. I love pop. I loved everything. I love all types of music. You know what I mean? Depending whatever mood I'm in. And it was just like 1990, bro. You don't understand. There was no internet. It was just people actually like looked at each other and talked and like met at bars, at the playground.
I was thinking about that the other day. Like I still, even though, I still had both, I definitely still grew up with the internet.
Okay.
Like as much as like, my generation, like we had like the Nokias.
Yeah.
We were on AIM 10 years old.
Yeah, I was in my 20s when AIM
so
happened.
You were exactly. So
yeah.
So for me, it did. I was probably, because I was talking with Jalen, I was like, y'all really grew up with the internet. You know what I mean? Like, they grew up with all. But now we were saying how the kids now, like the young kids now, they're so submerged with like iPad,
it's part of culture.
Everyone.
It's part of the culture now. You know what I mean? Like and I guess I'm part of the culture too. But I remember when I first saw the internet, I was in high school and my friends were doing the chat rooms. They were just in the chat rooms. And I'm like, what is this chat room? And I was just like, this is boring. Don't y'all want to like watch a movie? Don't y'all want to play baseball?
You know how many girls I met in the chat rooms?
But like I caught on to chat rooms when I went into college. When I was like, all right, I'm in college. I'm in a room. What's this AIM thing? You know what I mean? And AIM had like a time. What was your AIM name?
Slim Jim X.
Slim Jim what?
Slim Jim X 1390.
Slim Jim X. Okay, mine was. I had a few of them.
What was it?
One was Booby Meister.
Booby Meister. That's a good one.
Ray Tay. Yeah, I know.
Love it. I love it.
Ray Bo.
Okay.
Ray Bo. I wasn't.
I'm literally just trying to. Yo, because we had the most wildest screen names, yo.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I like to ask people that too, just to see like where were you at? Like, you gotta ask sometimes. But that was my only because one of my closest friends used to call me that for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably because I was not slim. I don't know. Maybe he just used a
Slim Jim.
I don't know.
I thought it was like a dick reference.
I have no idea. I asked him because I'm very close with him to this day. Shout out to Crispy. I asked Crispy and I said, "Yo, were you like low key?" Because he still calls me to this day Slim. And I'm like, yo, were you low key like just fuck with me because I've never been slim? He was like, nah. He's like, that wasn't even nice. Like, I don't know. I just call you slim. So
yeah, sometimes you gotta call people like the opposite of whatever.
Yeah, so I thought it was
I get that. I get that.
But he's like, no, suppose, and I believe him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But okay, in that time, since we're going back,
okay, way back,
yeah, was playing Sam, was filmmaking, was any of that on the horizon? Were you thinking those thoughts at those times?
So I started thinking about making like when I just really started realizing that movies were my thing. It must have been like 90 like 91, 92, 93. There was I went through like a very traumatic childhood. And so sometimes I would just take myself to the movies to get away from those things. And I remember going to the movies to see Point Break, and I was like, whoa. I went to see Terminator 2, and I was like, what?
Yes,
I just started, like, I saw movies. I just started, like, going to the movies, like, by myself. Or I would go with my best friend, or I'd take my, go with my little brother, and we would just go and that was it. We were going to the movies. And that just became part of, my bonding experience with people. And, it made me, it was an emotional trigger, And I think once movies started emotionally triggering me is when I realized that I want to be involved in some capacity. But it was instinctual. It wasn't like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It wasn't like, I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was I thought about filmmaking when I was in high school. I would daydream about scenes and films and listen to music. You know what I mean? And then when I was in college, I would shoot skits, and I would always think in my head how I wanted to make a film. But I never I didn't say it or claim it until I was in my late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
That was when I was oh, I'm a filmmaker. Shit, I wasn't able to confidently say I was a director and filmmaker probably until the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
But so I guess mid 2000s you were like, all right, I'm gonna do this.
Mid 2000s, I was just I'm feeling my way towards doing that, but could I actually do that? Do I have to live in LA? Do I gotta, do I have to, I don't know. Do I have to be in a club? Because the thing about filmmaking is that you kind of gotta be in somewhere to be a filmmaker, right? And that's what I thought in my mind. I never thought of it I'm just gonna have to do it myself. You know what I mean? Then I was just what do I gotta? How do I apply for a job to be a filmmaker? That just doesn't. That's not reality. And I didn't understand. That's what I thought then in the 20s. Maybe I'll just apply for a job to be a filmmaker somewhere.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Because then that's really the point is I know I was 11. I was 10, 11 when I really thought. When I was a kid, I was, making skits and shit like that with camcorders. But for then, in 01, 02, at least the way I was perceived things in my household, my mom, the only thing we knew around here was New York Film Academy. They used to always send a magazine, and they used to send a pamphlet
overpriced as fuck,
and
predatory.
Yeah, just that's. I mean, I've heard a bunch of shit about them, but my mom was at the time, we didn't know shit about shit. Right. But she was she was supportive. She was look, we don't got the money for that. She goes, but you could try to pursue it. She's if you want. She's but what we hear is that it's almost impossible to really do anything, even when you go to school with it. It's just hard. It's just that was her perception of it from the outside of never being nowhere close to even anything really creative or anything. So I took that and I said, you know what? I'm gonna try to go to a different route because you hear what your parents say, and she was supportive, but she was still I don't know. That was the perception, I guess, in the early 2000s. Is you didn't know what. Okay, maybe do it, maybe pursue it.
Yeah. Well,
gonna get anywhere.
The thing is that what I learned over time about that whole idea is just that I'm sure at one point your mom might have had a glimpse of maybe getting into the arts of filmmaking or acting or something, and the first rejection was well, I guess not. I guess we can't get it. I can't do that. Maybe she experienced that. And that's just part, but then it took me some time to realize that was that's part of filmmaking. Part of filmmaking is rejection.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? All of it is rejection, and pressing on. And that's why, but the thing is that I think rejection is necessary, because rejection does two things. It weeds out the bullshit people. Yeah. It weeds out the people that go, I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to make a film. I'm trying. You know what I mean? Those kind of people. Because then the rejections will kind of like swat them away. You know what I mean? Until the people that keep going and talking and keep working at it, and rejection, still doing it, rejection, still doing it. Oh, there's some traction here. Oh, I got an accepted to this festival. Oh, people like this, people that rejection. Oh, someone hired me to direct this. Rejection. So that's one thing. Yeah. It's just weeding out the people, because filmmaking, directing, it's all about being tenacious and keep going until, you don't need people's permission anymore. You know what I mean? You can greenlight yourself, or 100%. Or someone that sees that you're popping, then they're going to go, you know what, this guy's already popping. Let's get on board. That's how that works. Is that you people invest in you when you already got things going and you don't need them. Then they're like, yo,
then they want it.
That's like dating. That's like dating too. You know what I mean? When they smell the stench of desperation, and then they're like, "Oh, this guy's he stinks." Nah, get out of here. But it's like, if you don't, you act like, "No, I'm actually going to be fine. I'm going to just do this whether you want to invest in me or not." That's when people want to fuck with you, right? Now, the other thing about rejection and how is it gives you that stamina to go, okay, I'm getting rejected. Let me course correct. Let me refine my skills. Because my first rejection, I was trash, and over time you're working at your craft, all that rejection, that's that thing that you need to carry you to get better. You know what I mean? So that's twofold. It's to weed out the bullshitters, and it's to also test you to make sure that you can build the muscle to be a filmmaker, like a filmmaker that people can invest $100 million, not $100 million, maybe $100 million. Yeah, $100 million, $50 million, $2 million, $1 million. When they see your body of work, they go, all right, I could put a few $1 million behind this guy. He's dope. You know what I mean? But if they would have tried to invest a few $100 million when I was first trying to be a filmmaker, woo!
Wouldn't happen.
It would have been a wrap.
Yeah,
definitely. And I've seen it happen to filmmakers. That people were like, yo, this guy's it. And he wasn't it. And people lost money, and that guy lost his career, before it even started. It's happened.
Yeah. That's why I always say, like, you got to trust the process and those type of things. Like even for me, I was like, I put it on the back burner, but then it was the internet that caught my attention. Because all these years later, then I'm like, wait a minute. Right. We could just do this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like gatekeepers and all. Yeah, but if you want to just do some shit, you could just do it.
You put it out there yourself.
Yeah. So for me, that's the power of the internet. Kind of woke me up to that a little later on when I was like 27, just a few years ago. But for you, like when you had the love for film, but you said you also had, and we talked about in the last episode. Yeah. As a lot of us didn't grow up that easy. Rough childhood. But do you feel like, how did film aid that? Did it help it? Did it not help it? Did it help you see things from a different perspective? Was it like a place to kind of just like get away from everything?
Yeah, it was just a refuge from the harsh realities. You know what I mean? It was harsh realities. And when you can step into, 2 hours of fantasy, moving with a character, learning from that character. That's why when people say, when they tell you to make a movie, they normally ask a filmmaker, what do you want to say in this movie? What's the message? What do you want to say? And I think that I got really caught up with what the films had to say. And that, of course you got your basic movies where, people are running from, a zombie apocalypse. But it was like, you always look for the central theme of the film. What do they have to say about life? And that's what grabbed me for movies, is that, is that I'm always looking for what does this filmmaker have to say about life through the art of this film about zombies or superheroes, whatever. They usually do. The shitty ones don't.
Yeah.
But the good ones, they actually have something to say, and you finally identify it in the film, and you're like, wow, yeah, I fucks with this. This is great. And so I think that was really what that really helped me through whatever trauma I was dealing with, as a kid.
Watching them
and identifying the message, the overarching message of the film, and what do they have to say about life. That's the one thing, man, about filmmaking is like, what do you have to say about life, and find a way to incorporate that. It doesn't have to be clear as day. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be clear as day. It can be, like, remember the movie Groundhog Day? Yeah. Did you ever watch it?
Yeah.
There's a message about life in that film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, he's a weatherman, kind of a dick. He finds out that, that he can live the same days over and over again. But that's the catalyst to realize what it is that he's missing about life. You know what I mean? And then, he goes through those phases of dying and trying to convince people he's a god, trying to get the girl over and over and over again. And he keeps failing until he kind of realizes, that he had to go within to experience, and go within and, and just kind of be a little bit more giving himself to the people he knew that could get hurt. Remember he was like saving the kid that was falling from the and he started realizing, he started carrying the weight of that town because he knew that these things were going to happen. He felt like, instead of me feeling bad for myself, killing myself all these different times, let me give myself and just keep living the same day over and over again, just giving myself and investing this time I had in these people that I knew that needed me because I could help them. You know what I mean? Like that's a message. So, and I challenge people that when you see a movie that you really like, you really think about why you like that movie. Like, think deeply. It could be, the way, Batman swoops into through the, the glass and all that other bullshit. But like, no. What is it that grabs you about these characters? You know what I mean? And so that's what I really love about movies, and what really like makes me, so passionate about keep doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like, oh, what if we had a story about zombies and spaceships fighting it out? No. What if it's a story about a guy that happens to go into war in a spaceship and he has to fight dragons? Now it's a different story. 100%. You know what I'm saying? And what made him want to fly a spaceship to fight dragons? What personal story? What drove him to that? So, I know I'm like, no, that's my TED Talk.
I think that, it's one thing I've always thought about a lot, is that I think film and movies is like the world's sometimes biggest teacher.
Yeah.
In a way of like, I say about a lot, like you could, a lot of people watch movies as kids, and that's where they maybe saw how they thought how friendships were. Yeah. They saw that and they thought that's how relationships were. Yeah. And depending on what you watched and all of that, I think it could really tell a lot about you. I think if someone, maybe around our age, whatever, and you really got to know everything that we've watched, you could be like, oh, you know what? Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like, and I think our era, like maybe now, maybe people aren't watching maybe as much TV or anymore. Now they're on their phones a lot.
Yeah.
Who knows, But I think in the last, our generation and around that, a lot of movies, a lot of shows, what do we, what was a lot of our time growing up? A lot of that,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that really, really raised a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, no matter even if you just watched a little bit.
E.T. raised me, man.
Yeah. I mean, to a lot of people, like some people watched all different movies, and I think it definitely raised a lot of people. And I think it's helped a lot of people emotionally, mentally. It's probably even done some damage.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's why filmmaking is a responsibility. Storytelling is a responsibility. You're speaking to society. You're reflecting society. You know what I mean? No matter what your genre is, you still have to find a way to reflect society so people can feel related to what they're watching. You know what I mean? Because you're not connecting if it's like, I can't relate to this. But if you watch Star Wars and Luke finds out, he knows he's an orphan and he just loses his aunt and uncle, and now he really has nothing left but to fight with the rebellion, someone can relate to that. You know what I mean? We can relate to that in some way. Losing parents, and having to forge forward into battle.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? It's
100%.
like, as long as you're responsible with your storytelling, I think people will resonate with you, That's why, playing Sam, I think that was my biggest ambition with this film was, I thought, I want to make a feature film. I really want to make bigger feature films, but I'm like, you know what? I have to start somewhere. I got to make a micro budget feature film. And what do I have what's going to be on my side in this film? Because it's not going to be budget, but it's going to be a relatable story. Who's going to see it? Well, who's going to see it? First people are going to see it is going to be my peers, Latino artists from New York. You know what I mean? I knew that. As a New York Latino filmmaker, I have relationships. I've built, camaraderie with these people. They know who I am. I know who they are. I see their work. They see my work. Everyone's always looking at what everyone is doing.
100%.
They don't want to fuck with each other, but they're looking at you. They're watching. Everyone is watching you. Everyone is watching you. They may not always want to work with you, but they are watching and seeing what you're doing. That's fine. That's cool because people want to see, everyone's watching. That's like Hollywood. Disney's watching Paramount. Paramount's watching Sony. Sony's watching Netflix. They're all watching 100%. Each other. What are they doing over there? But it's on a smaller, on a smaller level. So I knew that those were the people that were going to be the first person to see it. So I decided to make a film that speaks directly to them. It's like a rapper that's rapping to their hood. If your hood don't love you, no one loves you. Straight up. Right? So, excuse me. So that was my approach to playing Sam. It's a story about a Latina actress from the Bronx that wants to be taken seriously. She wants to be taken seriously as an actress, in an industry that does not see her the way she sees herself. You know what I mean? And through this film, she goes through a personal experience and embodies the character that she wants, which is what acting is. You're embodying a character, through your personal experience. Like Denzel can do Denzel. Every film, Denzel just does Denzel.
100%.
But he takes it from his personal experience. He takes it from somewhere in here. He'll take the anger from, Lorenzo from, Training Day to conjure up that character, whatever his anger, he has his anger driven from. He repurposes it towards Training Day. So, playing Samantha is, she wants to be Anita from West Side Story, but she doesn't speak Spanish. She doesn't have the basic, the stereotypes to be Anita. And so she has a lot going against her.
Where did you see that? Because I thought that was great. Like when I saw the film, I thought that was great. And I was like, okay, did you witness that yourself? Like, was that you, Ramon? Like, did you go through some shit? Because maybe XYZ, some of those reasons?
My mother was an actress. Okay. And I remember as a kid going with her to her auditions. Rehearsal for West Side Story. It was an off-Broadway play, West Side Story. And I remember my mother rehearsing, "The boy like that will kill your brother. Go find another." Yeah. So my mother, I remember as a kid hearing my mother in the next room rehearsing, working her ass off. But my mother didn't know Spanish, but she busted her butt for that role. And I remember one day we went into rehearsal and they took the part from her and gave it to another woman. She had the role. She had the role. And Jenny Ruiza, the actress, and my mother share a lot of similar characteristics. So when I look at Jenny, I see my mother, you know, as a struggling actress who wants to be taken seriously for herself and what she can bring to the table as a genuine character. And, you know, but Jenny, you know, but the industry and the Hollywoods and all that stuff, they see her as the stereotypical role. Give us a Spanish accent. What's your Spanish accent like? What's the, you know, can you play a housekeeper? Can you play, you know, a mom, a single mom? Can you play, you know, these things? And those are, you know what I mean? And so I saw the parallels between her and my mother. And then I go, wow, this is still happening. That, like, my mother, this happened to my mother in the 80s, and this is still happening to a lot of my fellow artists right now. So that was my responsibility with this film, is to make them feel seen. And I think that's the one thing that I nailed home in this film.
100%.
Is that I made a lot of my fellow New York Latino artists feel seen. And I think that was that mission accomplished, 100%. Whether the movie makes money or not, you know, I had something to say and I said it, and it struck a chord with someone, like, in the heart. And I think when I hear people like Black Rose, I hear people like, you know, Juju on the Beat. She's an awesome designer. These are all women that come to me and they go, yo, I felt like so seen in this film. I felt like this was about me. Like, that's all I hear from them. And I'm like, mission accomplished. You know, because that's all I can afford to do.
Yeah, no, but that,
you know,
the way you put everything together, man, was beautiful. And from watching, I was like, nah, you've had to
thank you
pull that from, because the way you did it, I think was so perfect that it was like, nah, you didn't just think of, like, you know, a random story to tell. No, you experienced it.
Yeah, you're just
close.
living with
like
an actress.
I could tell, like,
Yeah.
you either, because you never know. Maybe I thought when I was first watching it, I was like, okay, maybe this was on the flip side of, like, you experiencing something similar in your world of what you do.
Right.
You never know, and then flipping it that way. But
I mean, yeah, I've had people, like, assume things about me because I'm Latino. It's kind of, you know, people assume that I know Spanish. You know, my Spanish is weak. But then, oh my God, it's like I let them down when I tell people, nah, you know, my Spanish is not that strong. Thank you, but, you know, what? Like, so there's a theme of that in the movie too, where people just assume, you know, make an assumption about me, and because I'm like, hey, you know, instead of just going, oh, okay, got it, but it's like, what? You don't know Spanish? What? Damn, bro, that's bad, bro. I'm like, thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling me how bad that is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're a stand-up guy. Thank you so much for telling me that bull. Like,
nah, it's super,
you know, like,
it's super important, man.
You don't know my past.
Yeah, it's super important. Like, you don't know why I don't, like,
yeah.
There's so many other reasons, and I love the fact that you shared that. Because, like you said, a lot of times people just assume certain things, or other times people do things and they don't really realize how it affects somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, literally someone reacting to, you know, your mom or you or anyone or the character, like, they don't understand, like, how that could affect them. You don't know why.
Yeah.
Why don't I learn? You know, it goes to many different reasons and many different, it could be that one thing of, like, not knowing Spanish, but it also could be a million other things that, like,
yeah.
When people just judge or just say they're, like, they don't think before they talk.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, just think, like, maybe, like, you don't know why, like.
Yeah, you don't know. And I guess I know it's important for me to know Spanish. Trust me. I've heard it my whole life. I know how important it is. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, but
you know, but it's like, you know, it's, I think I can't imagine how that's well received by anyone. You know what I mean? When you make them feel that you're not Latino enough. So that's a theme in the film. Is Sam Latino enough? You know what I mean? And that's a theme, you know, and I think that's a reoccurring theme in the content that I've created in the films that I've worked on is rejection. You know, and I think that rejection is a catalyst for some powerful, you know, performances. and resolves.
It's real. It's like we were talking about before. And it's real, and it's a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it, or they want to kind of sweep it under the rug. That's why a lot of the topics that we talk about on here, it's like very taboo. Like rejection is very taboo. Some of the topics we talk on here, just like people don't really want to talk about them, but it's important to bring to light those things. Like everything that you brought to light, it's important to say. And especially that, okay, like you said, you know what? I know who's going to watch this. Let me put this in your face. Let me let y'all know, like you said, you had that message of saying, no, we're going to put this right up in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to do. It's not like you hiding around it. It's not you beating around the bush. No, this is clear as day what it is.
Yeah. Facts.
I thought that was super important.
Got to know your audience and then deliver to them, deliver them, make them feel seen. And then, hopefully they rally for it, and hopefully they'll tell their friends to watch it. You know what I mean? And, or even just hate watch it. Go ahead, hate watch it.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, hate watch it. Watch it and hate. I do that with movies too. There's movies I watch and I'm like, God, this movie's so bad. I just got to keep watching it.
One thing I thought that was really cool is how you added the podcasting in there. And because when you wrote this, not recently, right? When did you write this?
This movie was written in 2020. And then into 2021. So it was like around that time.
Okay.
So it was because me and Jenny wrote the podcast entries. Jay and I partnered up in writing on this. I did heavily on the plotting, but for heavy monologue scenes, because there's a few monologue scenes in it. There's like 3 solid monologue scenes. I had Jenny. I wrote my version, and Jenny was like, let me take a minute. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then Jenny made it with her voice.
But who thought about even just the
podcast element? Yeah. Me. Yeah, I was like, yo, let's do podcasts.
That was a really, really...
It's like a way of... Excuse me, I'm sorry. But it was like podcasting is just a way at the time for people to just release their frustration. And I felt it was also something that people just do. It was definitely in a time when everyone was starting a podcast.
They were. Yeah, around that time, 2020, people started to know what they were. But I just thought I just want to let you know, like, straight up, that was genius, man.
Thank you.
Like, I was watching and I was like, man, that was perfect. Like, it was perfect. Especially like for the timing and it's the number. Because, back in the day, people maybe would write or what are they, like, for what you wanted to get off, like I said, back in the day, it could have been writing. It could have been, who knows what they could have been doing. But for the way you did that, that shit was nice.
Thank you.
Especially just from a podcaster, I just appreciate it because I was like, yo, that's like, this is like you said, it's like a journal for some people. You know what I'm saying? Some people, this is their things. Like, I've always said to myself, I'm like, yo, if people like, I have some close relationships with some people, but I'm like, yo, like, I do this for like her one day. Maybe in like 30 years, she could just press play and you'll get to know me. Like, because I'm authentic myself. Sometimes I turn it up and I joke and all that shit. But
well, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about 50 years from now, God willing that, we're still around, like people,
humans.
That I hope that maybe like a grandson or a niece or someone will go, who was my great grand uncle? Who was my great grandfather? Who was my grandfather? Blah, 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 blah. And they can just go into YouTube and they can just find me and actually get to know me, because I won't be there, but they'll just get to know me.
Yeah, through the interviews.
Through that, and I do have a feeling that, the tech companies will find a way to sell it back to our kids and our grandkids. I'm telling you, this is a theory I have. This is my ready for this theater. Get ready for this theory right here. That all the tech companies are gathering all our content, all of it, right? And then they're going to sell, in about 50 years, they're going to sell our content, the content, to our grandkids and whatnot. And it's going to be sold in a package of AI. And it's going to be, and you can actually be social media friends with your dead grandfather. That I mean, I'm not. It's not made up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was a
makes
great
sense.
podcast.
This makes financial
Yo,
sense.
I'm not gonna. That is 100% accurate.
This makes financial sense. If it makes money, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I guarantee you, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be a. It's gonna be like what's that thing when you check your DNA?
I know what you mean.
Babe, what's that thing when you check your DNA? Ancestry? It's digital. Sorry, digital ancestry. That's what it's gonna be. Digital ancestry, where they're gonna gather all your grandfathers. Joe Ficarino. They're gonna grab your grandfather's all the content he's ever made. They're gonna put it in an algorithm, an AI, and then one day you're gonna get a DM from your grandfather.
Bro, they're already doing. You can clone yourself already on social media right now. You could take this video. And like you could literally give it a script and it'll say whatever it wants already.
Yeah. It'll be cool. It'll be creepy, but it'll kind of be cool.
Let's get wild. But like you said, they're gonna start selling that shit. They're gonna start selling
sell
memorial packages.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to go to you won't have to go to the headstones anymore.
No.
You could FaceTime with your grandfather. And they'll speak in his voice. They'll say his phrases. They'll say the things he'll say, and it'll just be him.
When do you think, man, it's just all gonna blow up? When do you think? When do you think this is?
Sooner than you think. I think so. I think, yeah. But it's just But I think that's it has a lot to say. But no, I love the internet. I love that one day my son can, he'll be able to look me up and hear this conversation and revisit it whenever he feels he needs to. Because, I'm going to say it. I love my son. I love you, kid. So maybe one day, 50 years from now, he'll look for me and then he'll see this.
100%. That's why it's one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do. It's one of the best forms of that, putting a message out there and your thoughts and, with social media, all that stuff. Like you said, you're just leaving that,
there you go,
little pieces over time.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of the film was amazing. The casting, man, you guys put in work, man. Yeah. You put in work. And I know you mentioned a couple times about the budget. Bro, what even more could you have done?
Yeah, no, you had to be intentional with it. So look, it's got to be shot docu style. It's got to feel like a documentary. And if we're going to do a shoot it docu style, then the performances have to feel like people are really being themselves. And I think 2 strong actors, more than 2, Mark Rain, Jenny Ruiza, they already had chemistry. I saw that in their relationship. Because they would go way back, because they made content probably like 10 years ago together. So they've worked together before. So I knew that when we were rehearsing and I was with them and we were talking about this, that they did have this chemistry that I'm like, we have to capture this. They have the chemistry that I think people can get on board with on screen. William Demerit, he's the guy that dumped her in the
he
kitchen.
was great, man.
Like Bill and I met when I worked in a diner. This was like well over 10, like maybe 15 years ago. I worked at a diner and Bill was a regular and he would just come in, buy the same thing. He was a regular and we would just talk about movies all the time. Dark Knight. You know what I mean? We talk about Dark Knight. We talk about we would talk about every nerdy thing you can think of. And he would just come in. We would just go, go at what movie we saw, what we loved, what we hated about it. You know what I mean? Comic books. What comic books did he read? His favorite comic book his favorite superhero is Wonder Woman. He's just like a very I was like the first guy. I'm like, wow, you're the first person that I knew that your favorite superhero is Wonder Woman.
That is a first.
That is a first for me. A man,
hey,
a straight man.
You never know. Like, you know what I mean? like we were saying before, who you were raised on.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Yes. So Bill, and then we ran into each other one day, and he was like, hey man, and then he did a 1-man show, and he was just so good. He was so good, And I remember seeing him I saw him in the tabloids once. It was a picture of him next to Lupita at a basketball game. Lupita, you know Lupita?
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, Lupita, is this Lupita's new main squeeze? And I was like, Bill, are you dating Lupita? He goes, no, that's like my best friend. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So it was funny. You know, like he was always like kind of lingering. And I'm like, I got to connect with this guy again. And so when I asked him to be in the film, he came, he was this first scene that we shot in the film. And when the other actors saw that performance in that scene, I think it raised the bar for everyone to like do like a solid performance, Another actor, Alana Johnson, you know what I mean? Alana came in and, she gives you so much. Alana Johnson is such a skilled performer. She gives you so much that all you have to do is say, pull back. Okay, less. Great. No, you give it like that. That's the actor that you want. You want an actor that give you a lot, and then you could just tell them where to pull back. Pull back here, pull back. Okay, that's great. You know what I mean? Like that I love working with actors like Alana Johnson. But like I just really just worked with people that I had great relationships with, that I knew they were skilled, and they understood the assignment. You know what I mean? And just got some solid performances from people. You know what I mean?
That was smooth.
Yeah. And and what's great is that, once people have seen you out here, you about it, you're making short films, you're making stuff that people like, that the next film that you're gonna have more people gonna be like, yo, I'm on board. What you gonna do? You doing something? You know what I mean? And I think when I was approaching this film, I had a lot of that. I got a few people that were like, no, thank you. My agent, my representation,
one of those.
My representation thinks I shouldn't do something like this. I'm like, that's fine. Psst. No. Like I get it.
Your loss.
Yeah. Well, not even that, but
This
just
is whack.
Yeah.
Get this shit the fuck out of here.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
No, but listen, it's honestly, when it comes to people like that, there's a lot of people that make shit. There's a lot of trash out there.
100%.
And I've seen people in trash, and I'm sure they're like, I don't want to be in trash. So it's like, they don't know if they're going to say yes or no to you. They don't know what they're saying yes or no to sometimes. You know what I mean? And I understand that. Like, I totally get it. You know what I mean? And so I don't take it personal at all when people turn me down to work with me, because there's a lot of people there's millionaire directors making trash right now.
Yeah.
Trash.
100%.
So it's like, if I'm making a micro budget film, they're probably like,
I don't know. They got to see it. That's why I'm
Right.
I'm very like, I'm the same way. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'll take about 2-3 years. I'll just make my own shit.
Yeah.
Release it. Even
Yeah.
if it's a 2-man team, 3-man team. And then I'm going to show y'all what I could do.
yeah,
And then if y'all want to rock, y'all want to rock.
yeah,
But sometimes you do have to show people what you can do.
yeah. No, listen,
Not a lot of people don't want to hear that shit.
I'm sure that the people that have turned me down will potentially consider the next thing I do if I want to use them.
Exactly. Yeah, now exactly.
now
It's on your side.
Exactly.
You know
But
what I'm
listen, I had more yeses than nos when it came to working on this film. So, the rejection is God's protection, man. That's it.
100%.
So it was cool, man.
And you shot that while you were working full time.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, so when I had in 2020, during the pandemic, I was offered a very lucrative job offer. And I took the job, and the very first thing I said was, I'm going to make a feature film right now. I'm going to start making a feature film with this money. And then
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. It looks like an issue with the router and echo device. So try
Alexa's
starting
talking.
unplug both of them.
Oh, hold on.
Back in.
I don't even know where it is.
she's like,
Once the router is
Jaylene set it up.
Alexa,
plug in the echo device.
is it an Echo or is it a Google?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway, we're back. So yeah, I
You're the third podcast host.
Yeah. I had gotten a lucrative job opportunity. Lucrative, not like, millions, but, I was making significantly more money. And the first thing I thought was, now's the time to greenlight myself and make my first feature film with what I had. Because I wasn't going to get the opportunity to do that unless I had something already done. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. So in those 3 years, I worked my butt off, full-time job, took some gigs, and I worked on the film. Right, full-time job, gigs, feature film. It was a lot. And then right when I finished the film and I premiered it at American Black Film Festival, ABFF, which was the best thing that ever happened for this film. Like, American Black Film Festival is the biggest black film festival in the country.
Say that one more time.
The biggest black film festival in the country. And they let a bunch of Latinos in there.
Let's go.
They let a bunch of Latinos up in there, okay? No, there was some black, Burton Lewis, who was my editor, African-American man. Dude is fire. He's a fire editor. Burton Lewis. I'm just telling you. If you can afford him, or if he's got time for you, but that's your editor right there. That was the editor. And then Lionel Dejawi, he was my DP, and I ride with these two guys at BET for a long time, and we learned how to work together. We learned how to be nimble. We learned how to be fast. We built that relationship and that camaraderie. So when we're on set, we know how each other thinks. When something goes wrong, if Lionel or Bert is on it, I'm not even stressing it. These are the people that, because if Lionel and Bert can't figure it out, nobody can figure it out. So these are the people that I worked with on the film closely. And Andrew Garcia, who's a young, talented filmmaker, I brought him to that. That was my creative team. And it was like such a phenomenal experience creating. He made this like this short documentary that I'm like, I told him, yo, bro, I want my film to look like this. So he came on board. You know what I mean? Like, everyone it was just a great creative squad. So we got into American Black Film Festival, which was like such a blessing to have, to get us in there. It's like, at this point, it's like, if nobody else wants us, we're good. American Black Film Festival solidifies you. Like, yo, bro, we were one of 8 films, and one of them was like an Amari Hardrick film. You know what I mean? A Michael Coulter film.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Cinnamon. Yo, did you see Cinnamon yet on Tubi?
No.
Bro, watch Cinnamon on Tubi.
Yeah?
Tubi, the best movie on Tubi, I promise you. Tubi's coming.
No,
coming.
it's
They're financing $1 million films now. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, Tubi wants to finance a film for me. Holla at me, Tubi. I'll make a film for you. Yo, like, my friend, producer, Elaine Delavue, she just directed I don't want to say how much it was, but she just directed a film for them. You know what I mean? Tubi reached out to her.
Wow.
And she directed not like these are not cheap films.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So Tubi is coming to make original content.
people
They're
are
tired of your whack shit.
Yeah,
They're tired of the craziness.
But people are actually watching it. I was like,
They hate watching it.
but they've been watching Tubi though.
Yes,
They've been going
yes.
on there.
Yeah,
I was debating about putting the series on there because I was
If you can do it, why not?
but are people now? It looks like, but when I first looked into it, I was like, is everyone really even going on Tubi?
Well, I don't know
or
if you
giving
can do
Tubi
it.
respect. That was my biggest thing in the beginning with Tubi.
Well, Tubi, but they're investing big. Like Cinnamon, you watch Cinnamon, you're like, oh, I promise you're gonna like Cinnamon.
Okay,
Watch Cinnamon. It's starring Damian Wayans and Pam Grier.
Okay.
Fire. This movie sucked up all the the oxygen at ABFF. So, but I was just so honored that you got Cinnamon, you got Murder City with Michael Coulter, you got Phelps High with Maury Hardrick, you got Playing Sam. Bro, I didn't win nothing, but bro,
it's all good.
we're in the conversation. So that was the honor for me. And then we went to LA, and then we won for best directing, best writing at the Oscar Michaud Film Festival, which is cool.
This guy's been moving around.
Yo,
haven't seen him in a few weeks. He's been everywhere.
It was a great experience. But again, awards are nice, but they just collect dust on my desk. The biggest reward will be if Jenny gets an opportunity to be in Grey's Anatomy or in Blue Bloods for like a long period of time. If Mark is a regular on a really dope show, get Mark on Mandalorian. Like if this film gets the opportunities for these actors, That is the biggest award
Shout
for
out
me.
to Mark too. He was just recently on Law and Order.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? So Bill, you know, like these are very talented people that people need to take seriously and cast in their films. That's the award. Keep the trophies. Put these people on these, you know, on these shows because they're dope actors that deserve opportunities. They just happen to be people of color. You don't have to typecast them. They are characters. They are real human beings that people can root for. 100%.
1000%, man.
Yeah, man.
That shit was good. Yeah, you've been moving around. Hopefully, you know, keep it up. You know what I mean? This guy's been moving all around. I don't know. He's in LA one day, Miami the next day, Atlanta here, wherever. He's everywhere.
I'm going to. So September 22nd, 8 p.m. Playing Sam will be at the New York Latino Film Festival. Look it up, Playing Sam. I'm sure you'll find it. But they're giving us like prime time, 8 o'clock on a Friday. So that's a really good look. Very excited about that. I got a lot of people trying to pull up to that. So if anybody's interested,
it's gonna be packed.
no, it's gonna be. No, I guarantee it's gonna be a pack. You know, there's a lot of people showing up because again, it's a New York Latino film at the New York Latino Film Festival. People are coming
Bro,
to see the
100%.
screening. You know,
You gotta just do a block party right outside.
Yeah, right
there.
outside, right
Just a
outside,
whole
yes.
Playing Sam.
Yes. But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
man. But I appreciate you and the work that you've done to help me make this, put the word out and just make this film,
Oh, no problem.
in front of people's eyes.
We're gonna continue it, bro. Like, cause like I said, bro, I could feel it, bro. I could feel when watching it, and because I'm very big on writing. That's my biggest thing. Is like, I'm a writer and shit. And the way you wrote it, that shit was near and dear, close to your heart.
Yeah.
A lot of those, topics and stuff that you covered. So like to me, that's the biggest things that I got out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that because it's really hard, man. Nowadays, I feel to find a good written movie. Maybe that's just me. Like I'm not a harsh critic with a lot of things. With writing, I am.
I got you.
And I was really, really happy with how that came out, man, just on the writing aspect. I'm like, bro, mostly people are going like so above and beyond for films now, or not even trying to spread a message, or they're just trying to clickbait or some bullshit. But man, like you really focused on a lot of these little messages of important shit that we all go through. And especially me, being like, therapy without a degree and all that. There's a lot of like topics regarding like mental health and just life and just perspective and things that you tied in there as well too.
And how to deal like mental health and how it directly, correlates with rejection and how we process that.
Yeah.
100%. And how we press on. You know what I mean? That's all about, mental health.
And I don't think a lot of people probably even expect it because you're not labeling the film as that, and you're not
Right.
like, I don't think people see it coming, which is really cool too. I mean, that's just my perspective. Like I didn't see that coming at least. And the way you do it's like, oh nah, wait a minute. Okay. It's not just, ain't just a film about this, about that, a couple of actors. No, like you dug in and you took your time with the writing. And at least me, I really
3 years, man. 3 years of my life. But it was frustrating, but it was a lot of love. It was a lot of collaboration. I think that's what's really missing in a lot of these Hollywood films is that they're not giving the directors and the creators the support they need to have like that creative, like that space, the creative space to collaborate, talk. Like filmmaking is collaborating. There's no one guy. There's none. That's bullshit.
100%.
But, something a friend of mine told me, I don't want to like say her name, but she was directing a Netflix film. And she was like telling me how she wished she had made this film versus working on that Netflix film. Because in the Netflix film, the culture was that she was the only black director and the only black creative in the crew. And she's like, guys, like I need a team of color because I can't do this on my own. I have to bounce off ideas with these people. If this is a movie about people of color, you know what I mean? And involving stories of color, I need more than just me here to collaborate and create. So what I was happy to have in my film was that I had literally 98% of the people involved in this film were people of color. You know what I mean? And the other percentage, I had a transgender man color correct the film. Fire. Marikai. All right. Fire. Word. He killed it. Right. The guy that created the key arts for this film, Jay Ross. Fire, bro. Yeah, bro. Fire. He made me 3 dope key arts that I've just been rotating. You've seen them all, sure.
I love them.
You know what I mean? So, but everybody else were just people of color, Latino, Black, Spanish, Asian, like all people of color. And the fact that I was able to work in that environment and that space made a film like this that I don't think a studio could make. That flavor that we had. I don't think they can make it.
They're losing that, and they're not making it anymore.
Right. They don't have it. Yep. So, I think that's why representation is important. It's not because you just have, we got to, do our checklist. We got to get a Black guy. We got to get a Spanish guy. We got to get an Asian person. But it was like, no, everyone like knew what I was trying to do. And they brought something to the table that Hollywood still can't figure out. They still can't figure it out. I don't even know if they want to figure it out, honestly.
Oh, they want to. That's
I
the
don't
sad
think
part.
so. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's a struggle. But, but it's changes are coming.
100%, little by little.
Yeah.
Little by little. And I do want to say that before we wrap this up, what's the one, if people didn't get anything else from this film, if they didn't catch, any messages or anything, what's the one thing that you want them to remember or walk away with?
Oh, just green light yourself. Like, honestly, if you want to do something, very much like you, man, and I think you can resonate with that, is that if you want to do something and you can't get the permission, and just because someone says no to you does not mean that you can't do it. I did this film because I wanted to show that I can create a quality film with myself without having to ask for permission. Greenlight yourself. Be an entrepreneur. Filmmaking is being an entrepreneur, 100%. And then like when you run a successful business, you get investors in, and then they start working with you. Same thing with films. You start off on your own at first, and once you get popping, you're gonna start getting investors. They're probably gonna be Hollywood. They're probably gonna be Netflix. It's probably gonna be, you know what I mean? Or you're gonna find, rich people that don't know what to do with their money that want to see their name as executive producer. But you have to start yourself. You can't, there's not a job you can apply for this thing. So just, you got to think, and don't take no for an answer, especially if it's your vision. It's even better if it's a no and you have to do it yourself, because then you can do it the way you think it's dope. I've been in situations where I've worked for big brands, very big brands, that I think something is dope. And they go, but we don't want to say anything that might offend certain groups of people, or someone might misunderstand that. I had one example, right, where I had an actress, and this is on a big brand, spread her arms like this. And then my boss was just like, that looks kind of sacrilegious. I'm like, what?
Are you serious?
And he was like, yeah, her arms like this. I'm like, yeah, because she's screaming. She's shouting. She goes, yeah, but that looks like the crucifix. I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? If you have a vision and there's something that you want to work on, you just gotta, you're gonna have the creative freedom to make dope stuff. You know what I mean? Because what's dope. We young. We know what's dope. But we're always going to have, but when you're working with a big brand, with big money involved, people that are paying you to do it, you're going to have to deal with shit like that. That looks sacrilegious. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's why, like you said, it's one thing I always say. I love that. Greenlight yourself.
Yeah.
Create the boat. I always tell people all the time, no one's going to save you.
Nope.
You got to build that boat yourself.
The cavalry is not coming. You are the cavalry.
This was dope, though, man.
Boom.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Joe.
Round 2. Let's see if we get him for round 3.
Let's go.
Coming soon.
Anytime.
All right. This was fire, man. Go check out the film festival.
PlayingSam.com, baby.
Yep. Go follow the Instagram, Playing Sam Film, right?
That's right.
And your page, it's Ramon
_Pesante.
Go follow him so you can see all the updates because this guy ain't stopping. This is just the beginning.
Nope.
All right. So follow the journey. Go to a festival. And then just stay tuned for everything that we got going on over here, all right? But other than that, man, be safe. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for the drive.
Yeah, man.
All right.
That shirt look good on you. I like
Yeah,
that.
man.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
I like that.
The color, right? I do. I wanted
Jessica Hernandez is special. My producer, Jessica Hernandez. She
She did that?
Yeah, she did that. She
Word,
does that.
let's
She does
go.
those with the QR code right there. You can see the trailer right there.
Boom.
QR code. Bang.
I'm going to just be like, yo,
My producer,
scan
Jessica.
this.
Jessica, man, she kills it always, man. Thank you.
Good shit, y'all. I'm happy to be repping this.
All right.
Let's go. Another episode. Therapy Without a Degree. I think this is like chapter 270.
Wow, 270.
Something like that.
270. That's like a motherfucker.
Trying.
That's congratulations, man.
6 years, man.
6 years.
2016.
Oh, you better do it big for 300.
Yeah, I gotta do something. We took some. I did the math though. We took off definitely a few episodes within the 6 years.
Okay, but let me tell you, if you're gonna do a 300 episode, you got to go 300 out. You understand?
What do you mean?
You got to get the sound effects. This is Sparta.
You gotta go all out.
You got to go all out. There you go.
300.
Yeah, that's the. You got to do all 300. You got to get the 300 therapy without a degree. You got to go
Custom logo for
in.
that, right? We will. Yeah, we'll see. In about what is that? Like about 8 months, something like that.
You got this.
But other than that, we out of here, people. It's been fun. Subscribe and all that fun stuff. We out of here. Deuces.